So, where should we begin? As a therapist, I'm often asked, do you ever tell people, get out? Well, this episode is called Run. She didn't ask me whether to stay or to leave. But as I'm listening, it became clear to me that this is a person who, because of her longing and yearning for connection, for not being alone, for having someone who walks the life with her and takes care of her, is willing to go and lock herself up in a box after she has just traveled the whole world to express her freedom and her desire for exploration. And I just thought, this is one of those times where I cannot just listen and not say anything. So I said what I had to say.
My boyfriend and I have been together for about 4 months. We come from very different backgrounds. He is Mexican and I am South African. I am living and working in Mexico. And although I believe jealousy is important in a relationship, it challenges a relationship in a healthy way. I have come to know that he is possessive. And this is a very big concern for me because we have our future planned and we have had many arguments around this topic, and I think that this is going to be a recurring argument in our future, and I want to approach him about my concerns.
If you have had many arguments already in the first 4 months, you have already approached him with your concerns.
Yes, and he has approached me with his, with regards to, well, I've approached him regards to, I think it's a trait of possessiveness. And he doesn't seem to believe so. He kind of does, like, I had to kind of Google it to show him, like, this is how I feel, this is what possessiveness means to me, and what I see is happening. So we have spoken since that recording. I don't think it's 100% resolved because what he has asked of me is to delete ex-boyfriends that I have on my phone, that I have made friends with over the years since those relationships ended, and also to unfollow them on Instagram. And it's been a difficult one for me because I have established a friendship with them. Not that we talk every day or stay in contact every day, but the fact that I have cultivated a friendship after the relationships, he doesn't seem to understand or like this idea and wants me to delete these people off my phone and not have contact with them at all. So yeah, this is the difficult part for me to kind of accept.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Maybe before we plunge into the challenges, tell me a little bit about the relationship.
I'm a teacher and I'm at an English school here in Mexico teaching Spanish students. I met him here at the school. We are the same age. We have known each other for a little while, but we started talking more often about 5 months ago now. And we have a lot of respect for one another. We have a lot of love for one another. We get along really well. We laugh a lot. We share a lot. But we've had our challenges, including this one. And I'm not too sure what else you would like to know.
What drew you to each other?
What drew us to each other?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. In what ways are you from very different cultures? Besides, I know the names of the cultures, but how are those differences manifesting for you? How do they draw you closer, and how do they create surprise, and how do they create conflict?
Mm-hmm.
And how do you deal with those differences? Because it's not in the difference itself, it's the emotional resonance that these differences bring up, including what you call possessiveness, which he calls what? When you had to Google the term for him, you had different names for them. So what did he call this? Respect.
Well, no, I don't know if it's respect. He sees it as wanting all of me, and he doesn't really want to accept my past. It hurts him, he says. My past hurts him,
Yeah.
even though it's my past, and there's not much I can do to change it. And he thinks that because I've held on to the past, well, that I have these contacts on my phone, that this is going to be the end of our relationship one day, that one of these guys might swoop in and twist me away. This is his imagination. And I don't see it like that. Like I want to spend my life with him. I have chosen this with him. We have spoken about many things about our future, and with regards to our cultures, coming from a very conservative sort of culture in
May I
South
just
Africa.
ask, in what
hmm
ways does your past hurt him? And how do you understand that?
Well, to put it maybe bluntly,
Yes, that's how you
okay,
can be with me.
okay, I'll be bluntly then. He wanted to know my sexual past.
Yes, yes, of course. That's the one we talk about.
I'm quite open and honest with him about things that he asks me. I mean, I don't think I have anything to hide. And I had told him, who was in my past, who were, the men that were in my past and the sexual relationships that I've had. And he didn't like that it was a number higher than his.
What did that mean? What did that mean, that you had more sexual experiences or sexual partners than his meant what?
I don't know if it means that I had more experience than him. I think it's the fact that he feels like that I have given a lot of myself to other men as opposed to him, which makes me feel really bad. It kind of makes me feel ashamed in some way, which I shouldn't be. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yes, 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 yes. It doesn't answer it, but it's a beginning for us to think together about your situation. But you were beginning to say, I grew up in a conservative.
Yes, a conservative country in South Africa. The biggest difference I'm seeing between the two cultures is that the Mexicans or the Latinos, they love drama. They very expressive, and they're also very passionate people, as opposed to South Africans are a little bit more conservative. They kind of keep opinions to themselves. The challenges within our relationship is that because he's a Mexican man, he likes to be in control of certain things. He likes to be the provider. He likes to be the breadwinner. This is very strong in his culture, very masculine energy coming through. And I'm a bit of a free spirit. So I'm an artist. So I think being controlled in some way is quite opposite of what I would like sometimes. Like, I'm a bit more impulsive, where he's a little bit more objective and thinks things through. I don't know if that's a man thing or a female thing or a Mexican thing, but we have recognized these two different things in our relationship as well. He does come from a military background, so he has that in him as well, where it's very, straightforward, like being in control and taking control of the situation in a difficult situation and thinking objectively and clear-headedly and not getting emotions involved, where I'm the complete opposite of that. So yeah, I think it's cultural, and also our backgrounds are different. I'm more of the artist and he's more of the military guy.
And what draws you to him about that? What's the parts of his rationality, control, organization, order,
I like that he is
provider?
I actually like that he's a provider, because I've always provided for myself. I've always kind of stood on my own 2 feet and kind of gone through life on my own accord. So having someone sort of provide for me and wanting to take care of me is something I'm allowing and letting in and accepting. And it feels quite good, to be honest, to kind of allow someone else to do that for me and not only rely on myself. But what draws me to him, I think it's probably my father was also in the military, and they do have a certain poise. They have certain loyalty that they have. They are very direct, where maybe I'm a little bit up in the clouds. They can be a little bit more streamlined and a little bit more direct with certain things. And I kind of like that about him as well. And he has taught me some valuable lessons as well when it comes to certain aspects of life that I've never seen it in that light. And he would kind of bring those things to light. And I'm like, okay, that's an interesting perspective. So,
Like what?
um, so when we have an argument, for me, what I generally do, I have, the fight or flight aspect. I have the flee. I want to flee. I want to get away. But he's one that would stand and, just continue talking and try and work through it, even if we get angry or even if we get upset with one another. The other day when we had an argument, I was still very upset about something, and he just gave me this hug and he just held me tight, and he's like, I'm angry, but it doesn't mean that I don't want to be here with you. I am holding you and I want to be here. So this is interesting for me because I normally just want to run away. And he's like, even if you are angry, you can still stay and still communicate, and you don't have to run away. You don't have to feel like you need to get away from that. So that's an example, a good example of what I mean.
And if I asked him what draws him to you, since he likes clear structures and he likes to know he's the man, and it comes with certain ideas about what masculinity is, and a woman that has had many other men makes him less of a man, and he may ask you to delete them on Instagram, but that doesn't mean you don't think about them and they don't live inside of you. And he may ask you if he's as good a lover as them. Does he do that?
No, he hasn't asked in a specific way like that. Okay. Maybe he's thought about it, but no, he hasn't asked in that way.
But there's a part of him that thinks that a woman that's had as many men as you have, whatever the number is, it's irrelevant, more than him, that's what matters here. Basically, she did something wrong. That's why the shame is creeping up on you. What you thought was just a part of your lifestyle has now become something that cheapens you. Okay, so then what's the draw for him? Because you're going to need to remember that, both of you, that the same things that are drawing you together at this moment are also going to be from day one, because these things have appeared pretty much on day one. You're a very young couple. So this has been with you from the beginning. Some people say your arguments, you will know them on day 2. And from then on, they will accompany you through life. So there's the parts of this that you will find he's principled, he's loyal, he stays put, he doesn't run away when it gets challenging. And that same set of attributes will then be seen as he's controlling, he's principled, and therefore he will continue to talk about it until he has made his point and I've basically said you right. He will remind me of my checkered past, so to speak. And he will make me constantly wonder if I am trespassing and crossing boundaries and acting inappropriately every time he feels insecure. And there probably will be a little bit of both, sometimes and sometimes not. But all of this I know from the start. So what's his draw? Because I would say the same thing to him if he was here, and I would say, remember this, because everything you're putting down is part of what has also drawn you to her.
I think what has drawn him to me is probably my outer beauty first, from the stories that he told me, like, coming to the school and hoping to see me and to have some sort of interaction with me. I don't know. He says that he is just, it feels like infatuation as well, that he has had for me. But now it's become a little bit more than that, getting to know me more. He's drawn to my outer beauty. He's now drawn to my inner beauty. He wrote me a love letter and said, said things like he loves the way I flavor food. He says he loves how I paint and how I'm an artist. Oh, there's so many things he said. He loves to watch my eyes. He loves to look at them. He loves my hair and my ears. He loves the way I see the world and how I view the world in my own lens. And that he's always looking forward to seeing me. It was a really special love letter, to be honest. So yeah, there's a lot that he sees in me. Mm-hmm.
Your question is what to do with what I see? Your question is, can I live with this?
Mm-hmm.
Your question is what? Because you're not going to change him.
No, exactly as that. And I don't want to change him either, I don't. That's something that I am looking for, is to change him. But I want him to be able to trust me and know that I am in this 100%, planning our future together. Me having now decided to continue living in Mexico, and also when he's pursuing his dream and working around the world, that I will be joining him. I have made this very big decision not to live back in South Africa, but to be with him. But at the same time, he is unsure about our future. He's unsure because of my past.
He is unsure of your future because of your past. Please
Yes.
tell me more.
Because of my relationships with men in the past, because I've had more sexual relationships than him, and
that
because
means
I have.
What to him?
Mm-hmm.
What are we saying exactly? Going to go back to the word you used before. Be blunt.
Okay. He thinks that I will be disloyal to him, that I would cheat on him, basically. He thinks this. He thinks that if I stay in contact with these ex-boyfriends, that there will be some communication, and then one day I will leave him and go to someone else, or I will cheat on him. And this is just so far from the truth.
Has that happened?
No.
To you in other relationships?
No, it hasn't. I've lived many lives. I've had many different occupations, but I want to change that. I want a different future. I want to have a partner, a life partner.
But does he have ground to think, is there a history of cheating or betrayal or disloyalty, or is there a history of a woman who has been free-spirited and who has lived many lives, but each of them with integrity?
Mm-hmm. No, there hasn't been any of, there has been integrity in my past. I haven't cheated on anyone.
Okay.
I've also made it clear that if there are problems within our relationship, I would rather talk about it as opposed to trying to find it with another man, or I don't think that's true to who I am. I'd rather try and sort it out. And if it can't be sorted out, if we do have to split up, it would be with regards to between him and I. It wouldn't be because of external people.
And does he think that the problem is your past, or does he also ask himself whether what has now been defined as the problem of your past may lie with him as well? Or is it just you?
I think with him as well, there is another aspect to our relationship that I haven't mentioned that might be important. It's probably as important.
Okay.
But it is a decision that I've made. We have spoken many times about it, so it's not, okay, let me just say it what it is. He, he is married and he has a child, but their agreement before they got married was that they can both find partners with outside the marriage. It was more a marriage of convenience or financial.
So now the plot thickens.
Yes, it definitely does.
All right.
um,
We've spent too much time without knowing this. So tell me, how does this enter your relationship?
Sorry, yeah, I wasn't sure if I wanted to bring that up or not, but maybe it is important. Yes, he is married, and he has a 1 year old. They entered the marriage out of convenience, out of financial convenience, and not out of being together out of like love, or I guess there's love and respect between the two of them, but they won't be spending their future together, basically. He's there to financially support them, him and his mother-in-law and brother-in-law. And when I say support, I mean financially. So this is what he's brought into the relationship. I have known about this from the start. So it's not something that he has hid from me. We have spoken about this many times. His wife knows about me. Yeah.
And the other people, do they all know about you?
His wife does, yes. His mother-in-law has an inkling about it. She doesn't know 100%, but she has some idea that there is someone else. And the brother-in-law, I don't think so.
And his wife understands that you are what? Who?
That we are in a serious relationship. She does know my name, where I work, and we haven't met, but she does know of me.
And how does this shape your relationship?
In many ways, in many ways. We do want a future together, him and I. We are planning our future together. He would like to have more children and have those children with me as well. But a divorce with his wife is out of the question. And I think why it's so difficult for me to, coming back to the initial problem, deleting my ex-boyfriends off my phone, is that he will.
Yes. Well, say it first.
Yes, he will have a connection with his wife forever. But I can't have a number on my phone with an
Right. And
ex-boyfriend.
what do you think about all of that?
This is where I have had difficulty with this, and this is why we have had many arguments about it, because I keep bringing this up. I'm like, you still have a wife, but I can't have any ex-boyfriends on my phone, but you can keep in contact with her every day. He can get to see his daughter whenever he wants, and rightfully so. I mean, it's his daughter. I wouldn't want him to, to not have a relationship with her. But it has been difficult because he is still connected to his wife in a big way. And this is why I've had a problem deleting these numbers,
Right.
to be honest.
Right. Well, you're being very moderate. I mean, there is a whole lot of family.
Yeah.
There is people who don't know about you, or they kind of know you exist, but, there is basically a ceiling above you, because I don't know if marriage matters to you or not, but there will never be such a thing.
Mm-hmm.
There is a profound asymmetry.
Mm-hmm.
A profound asymmetry.
Yeah.
I have, you should. And you've been arguing since the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
No sooner has he met you that he's already putting his conditions.
Mm-hmm. The big word, conditions, yes.
Okay? I'm sorry. I understand the caretaking. And I'm sure if he can take care of his mother-in-law, his brother-in-law, who will be dependent on him forever, and his wife, that, that there's a lure for you, or finally someone who takes care of me. I've had to do it all by myself. I'm so tired of being on my own. Here's a real guy who's going to show up. But the conditions.
Yeah. Yes, Esther. The conditions.
I'm sorry. I'm really, I can see the beautiful love letter, the hair, the eyes, the lure and the whole thing. But this is not just a love story you're aiming for. You're choosing a life story.
Yeah. I mean, we're looking for an apartment to live in.
Doesn't matter. The conditions won't change.
Can we clarify the conditions, please? The conditions as in he won't get divorced and...
Well, the conditions start with, you need to tailor yourself to what I think is palatable. You need to make sure that I don't have to feel any insecurity on the risk that you could have an affair on me while I just had one on my own wife. Mm-hmm. However, if we call it not, baby is a year old. So it's not like the convenience came when exactly? You met him when the baby was 6-7 months old. So it's like something doesn't click,
Mm-hmm.
You should make sure that I cannot ever think you can betray me in any way whatsoever. You are too much of a free woman for me. But I am having an affair on my wife, to whom I've told what exactly? I will forever be there for you. I will take care of you. I'm just going to go and have my romantic love somewhere else, and I'm going to install the oldest system of wife and mistress.
Mm.
I'll have kids with both, and I'll take care of both families, as long as you know what you're doing.
I have known what I've been doing.
You understand? I mean, this is an old system. You're not creating something new or original. This is the old system, and you will feel taken care of with conditions.
Mm-hmm.
Beholden and responsible for him to not have to necessarily take responsibility for his part in these stories, so that he's the upstanding citizen and you're the slut. So you tell me, what is drawing you to this? Because who came before? What are the hurts you carry that you are allowing this to become the box you want to live in?
Mm-hmm.
I'm being really blunt as well. Because we have 1 hour together, and you're not going to make this guy less jealous or less possessive or less controlling or less suffocating. There's a lot of big words after 4 months.
Yeah.
What are you doing? What are you bringing with you that you are willing to forego your better sense, your home, your roots, your past, your story, to enter into which quagmire?
I have asked myself this question too.
Okay.
I
hope you're not hearing me disrespectfully. I'm saying this with utter respect, but you seem to have had some life experience, and you're walking into an absolute mess.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, sometimes he makes it sound so easy.
Mm-hmm.
Just making everything sort of black and white, like we are planning our future together. We will live in a different state, in a different country, as opposed to his wife and daughter. I have had many questions that I would ask him, and he would always have an answer. Mm-hmm. So the surety always seems to be there. So I find myself just accepting or like, kind of agreeing or like, okay, there have been other things that have come up and that I would ask him about, and he is more than willing to talk it out and to speak about it. And I have my concerns.
Like what,
Um,
if I may ask?
well, if we do live in a different state, because he is aiming to be a pilot, commercial pilot, so we would live in different states, but if he doesn't see his daughter, how would we plan around that? How would you get to see your daughter as well as, your own kids with me if we had to do that? And you're flying for many days at a time or many hours. How do you juggle everything? How do you juggle two families that you have?
And how does he respond?
It's interesting. He brings up loyalty quite often. He says he's loyal to his family, and he is showing loyalty to me by doing this, by, like if he comes back home, then he would buy a flight ticket for his wife and his daughter to come visit, or he would go to the state that they live in. And I'm like, we haven't even met. I haven't even met his wife. And there's a lot of unanswered questions. A lot of questions have come up. A lot of questions have been asked, but it's still very unsure because we really haven't found ourselves in those situations. So there's a lot of hearsay.
And he answers you in ways that put you to sleep. They lull you.
Can you say more, please?
It's false reassurances on stuff he has no idea about. With principles. I'm loyal, I'm this, we'll figure it out. Every problem has a solution.
Yeah, there's no 100% surety.
But I'm really asking you, because I don't know anything about you or your past or what you bring or who have been the relationships before or who's the family that is left in South Africa. But there's something, as you said, when we have an argument, my tendency is to run away. And you are as far from South Africa as can be. So you are a runaway.
Yes.
And you are running away and you are entering somebody else's life story, jumping in with 2 feet, abdicating your own story, your own life. And I would love to know a little bit more about that, because there is a feeling when you tell this story of I am running away from my own, entering someone else's, a little bit scared about what lies there, but he just says, it'll be okay. I'll take care of you. I love the spices you put in the food. And I am allowing myself to be totally transported, and I become a little girl so eager to be taken care of that I am not seeing anything.
I think I have said quite a bit, but it always comes back to the same thing. Like you say, I'm maybe being lulled. Even though I am saying things, I am raising concerns. Well, my background, my mother and I have had a difficult relationship since I was a child. My father and I are quite close, but I know he wasn't around much when I was a kid.
He's a pilot too?
No, my father is engineer.
Figuratively.
Well, he lives in Vietnam, so yeah, he...
Yes. Meaning he was also gone.
Yeah. He was...
So he was the
gone.
pilot.
Yes. I've had an interesting background, Afrikaans family, but went to an English school, so I have a different set of cultures within me, internally and externally, with friends and family. I have worked as a graphic designer, and I have traveled the world on a cruise ship, working on a cruise ship, and now I'm in Mexico teaching English.
How old are you, if I may ask?
I'm 38.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And you're a little bit tired of being unmoored?
Uh-huh. I know what I want from my future, but I'm also tired of being alone and not having a partner, doing it on my own. Um, I want to build memories with someone, and I can see that with him. But yes, unfortunately, this very heavy heavy topic is always there. Um, I think I'm very patient.
With him and his mother-in-law and his brother-in-law and his wife, who will forever be his wife, and his
Hmm.
daughter. You think you're going to be less alone?
And him flying.
Yes. Yes, of course. I forgot the big piece.
What-
Maybe you should
One of
all
them.
gather together, all of you.
This is what I would love, Esther. Like I would love to meet them and kind of, make myself seen. And
Why is he taking care of all these people? Do we know that?
his wife lost her father a couple of years ago, and he has always looked out for her. And
She depends on him,
yeah, yes, she does.
so he doesn't have to worry of the possibilities of her predatoriness.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they both can have a relationship outside their marriage, but from what it sounds like, she is not interested because I think that her daughter is the priority. But I often wonder, like, what would happen if she does find someone? How would he feel about that?
Mm-hmm.
She seems to be okay with me. She seems to be,
Says he.
says he.
Says
Yes,
he.
says he.
Everything you know is says he.
Hmm. I just have to trust what he says.
Mm.
Yeah. This comes back to the initial thing. Like, I don't know how I can delete people from my life when someone in his life will always be there.
If I may,
Hmm.
if these people have really become your friends and they are your circle, and some of them at least are part of your support system, wherever they are strewn across the globe, regardless of his being married or not, meeting someone, you're going to hear my bias now, and within X amount of weeks, asking them to basically cut off, it's not delete, it's cut off contact
Hmm.
with the people of your life is a bold ask.
Hmm.
And one that I'm not sure I would suggest you trust. On what basis?
Hmm. He feels threatened,
Well,
I suppose.
that may be a feeling he has to address,
Hmm.
but to ask that from someone you just met, and he probably asked it to you after a few weeks.
Hmm.
I like you, but I need you to rearrange the pieces a little bit. Do some editing for me. Take away some of the parts that make me uncomfortable. And I mean, I'm curious about his request, but I'm particularly curious about your willingness to even consider it.
Well, up until like recently, I have refused. I have kind of pushed back and said, no, that's not something I would do. But then, of course, it would be a recurring thing and a recurring problem that
Yeah,
would come up.
yeah. But you know what? If you do
Mm.
it, that will leave you very much in a vulnerable and threatened
Mm.
position.
Hmm. Yeah, that's how I feel too, Esther.
Okay? So
Mm.
I think I've answered your question.
Hmm.
I mean, I didn't answer your question the way you asked it to me, but I think I'm being quite transparent about how I'm registering
Hmm.
the choice you're about to make.
Yeah. No, I hear you, Esther.
And I know that you may come home tonight and he will give you the lulling reassurances again, which your heart is aching to hear. Your heart doesn't want to hear what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you, Esther.
You understand? But you'll have to, if you want to follow that, that's your choice too. But you will have to remember what you were willing to accept and to do, and how could you?
Yeah. I still haven't deleted these numbers because I feel if, once I do, I will be in a very, very vulnerable situation.
Of course, he will isolate you from the rest of the world. He will make you dependent on him too.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say to you, you didn't run away from South Africa and travel the globe to create yourself another cage.
Yeah, it's a very good point.
I understand that you say, I don't want to do it alone anymore. I want someone by my side. I have complete empathy for that. But this is not the same.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Why do we like people that, because I do like him, there is a lot about him that I like.
You can like people, you can love people. That doesn't mean you need to make a life with people. There are plenty of people we love, but we should not be partnered with them.
Mm-hmm.
Because at first, when someone says, I want you to delete the people that you slept with so that I can feel like I'm less number 10 and I can feel more manly and I don't have to feel like you're used goods. And we interpret that as love. He must love me so much that he wants me just for himself. I'm so moved by his vulnerability, by how hurt he would be to know that I have loved and made love to other men before him, who may, for that matter, be better lovers than him too on occasion. And we interpret that as an expression of love.
I think that's true. I don't know if that's true for me. I found it quite shocking when he first asked me. He expected it of me first, and then he had to ask me, and I still refused. And so, yeah, I don't think it is a sign of love.
The fact that he doesn't think there's anything problematic with the request is a big red light.
Mm-hmm.
It's preposterous.
Yeah.
But it's traditional. It belongs to a system. It's a system in which control provides care.
Does control always provide care?
No.
Not necessarily, right?
No, the idea is I will control and in return I will provide and in return you will stay put.
Mm-hmm. Do you believe that love has a price?
In what sense? That's a big question. What's the in what way? No, meaning that's the price to pay for being with him? No, I don't.
Yeah, but also the family, like to continue with this relationship, there's a lot of condition, but it's a big price that.
I think you're entering a quagmire with someone who is telling you, I have the wife that I told that we can be with other partners, but I am the only one who will be with another partner because I know for a fact that she wants the baby. And so, you're being told stories, one story after another, of which you have no way of knowing what's behind and who's behind.
Mm-hmm.
You have a cast of characters of 4 people that you're about to live with for decades to come, and you have no idea who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Would you do that with anything else?
No.
It's like, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I said, what am I doing?
I'm sure there's plenty to like about him and plenty to love about him, but you're not a 22-year-old woman either.
Yeah. I should know better, right?
If the price of love, as you call it, is to be controlled, is to live under conditions, is to be lulled and is to be presented with an entire, fait accompli, that's a decision you make.
Yeah.
I don't often make statements like the ones I just made. I'm maybe off. But I'm also following my intuition and my decades of experience. I'm often asked, do you ever tell someone not to, or to leave, or to not continue? And this is one of those times when I'm listening to this and I'm just the free bird who traveled the globe to do what she wants because she's tired of being told, and who had to run as far from mom as can be, to then find herself willingly entering a cage.
Yeah. Oh, I feel like a bird in a cage.
That's when I'm saying, what is happening? I know what is happening. I'm tired of being alone, and he's there, and he shows up in beautiful ways and all of that. But I would not move on to the next phase without having some clarity over who are the other birds in the cage. As you say, I have to delete and cut off from people who are essential pillars of my life, to live with someone who has an entire family that I have no idea who, what, when. Excuse me.
It is a bold ask.
Okay. How does this land on you?
It's landed. It has landed, Esther. It's interesting because I haven't been able to speak about this to anyone because of the situation that I'm in. So it's nice to have a voice of reason and someone I can sort of project on. And
you haven't been able to talk about it because what?
I don't think anyone would really understand.
They would judge you.
Yeah, probably.
So now we have shame not just about your past, but you have shame about your present.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. No, do not.
No.
Please.
Yeah. Yes, I said. I hear you. So it's landed, what you've said. Thank you.
Thank you for trusting me. Good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
This was an Esther calling, a one-time intervention phone call recorded remotely from 2 points somewhere in the world. If you have a question you'd like to explore with Esther that could be answered in a 40 or 50-minute phone call, send her a voice message and Esther might just call you. Send your question to producer@estherperel.com. Where Should We Begin with Esther Perel is produced by Magnificent Noise. We're part of the Vox Media Podcast Network, in partnership with New York Magazine and The Cut. Our production staff includes Eric Newsom, Destry Sibley, Sabrina Farhi, Kristen Muller, and Julia Natt. Original music and additional production by Paul Schneider. And the executive producers of Where Should We Begin are Esther Perel and Jesse Baker. We'd also like to thank Courtney Hamilton, Mary Alice Miller, and Jack Saul.